Yo, what's up guys, this is Redfield and today I'm going to be taking you through my remix of Prada. Now with this one I went a little bit different because I used not a splice sample, I used the track Disco Dancer by Kiki Gion. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. So this is how this sounded originally. So I really like that loop and I wanted that to be the main loop for the drop. And so there was no bass line in that bit, so I added this sample bass as well. So together it sounds like this. So I thought that kind of sounded good together. So let's now go through the track. Oh, I also added, because there's a lot of information that's going on the left hand side, there's this guitar and there's not too much melodically going on the right, so if you listen to it now, so I added this organ which is by the Contact organ. I love this organ, I use it a lot with the cat setting, so I played this in. So that was then adding some information on the right. So if we have the two together, it sounds like this. A lot thicker sounding, but now let's jump right back to the beginning and start off as per usual with the drums. Normal process for me, so if you've watched the videos before, I've got my kick drum. Just getting rid of those upper mids. Parallel compression, some multi-band dynamics, just controlling that low end. Getting rid of some of the harsher frequencies up top. A limiter just to catch it, just to make sure it's never going over -10. That's the place I like to have it. And killing the bleed from the kick drum. The length, so that's without, with. So with all the processing on and off, it sounds like this. Just a lot tighter. So that's the kick drum. Then a clap group. We're in the top section now, so I've done some group processing on the tops and I've created another group for just the claps. So we've got individually this clap. It's more of a snare actually. Oliver clap. Moving clap. This one has quite a lot of reverb on it, so I've tamed it a little bit on the transients, so it's a bit tighter. Another clap, I think. Oh, there's another snare. Oh, that's the fill snare, so if we listen to it together. With some velocity changes, just to make it sound a little more realistic. And another sloppy clap, so it's delayed quite a bit because you can see here that it says -63 milliseconds of delay, so I've compensated for that and pushed it further back before, because otherwise if you're using a sample this isn't going to kick in on the right time for where you want your main transient to hit. So, and you've got SP950 which I use a lot to make things sound older, and together it sounds like this. Then on the group, I've got some processing going on. Let's take all this off. A lot of low end frequencies. So you've got some parallel compression at 20%, a saturator. Now I've gone back to using Alloy 2, which is an old plugin I've bought many years ago, and I just really like the transient shaping that it does. So let's bypass this. So that's your transients. If you look at the overview of what's going on, slight bit of compression, transients, and some EQing. Just really tightening it up. And I've started to use this on a lot of productions. Actually, I really like the Alloy plugin. Get rid of these. Some more EQing. I think there's some frequency controls with dynamic EQ. Just getting rid of a lot of that brightness that I don't really want, because I want that to be left space for the cymbals. And then a little bit of parallel compression as well. So this is without and with. Just adds that smack to it. So something I've started to do is not have just one parallel processor on the whole drums. I have put it on the drum group in general, which is kick drum and all the tops. But then I've gone through and put it individually on the tops and individually on the claps, because of the tops I know are going to be the high-end frequency. And then you've got the claps, which is more mid-range. And I was able to tailor it a bit better to how much smack I want to give each section. And then there is a tiny, tiny amount on the final group section, so like very, very small. I don't know if this shows the percentage, but no. Anyway, so just something to talk about there. And then for the tops, you've got the shaker, open hi-hat, quite a girthy hi-hat, so I had to get rid of quite a lot of low end here. That's all the processing on that. I'm just getting rid of some harsh frequencies. This is with and without. And then there's a ride further on for that final lift. Again, just controlling those high frequencies, nothing too much going on there. Let's bypass. And then with the parallel compression on and off, let's get everything going together. This is a big volume change, but adds a lot of punch too, a lot of attack. And so all the drums together sound like this. Got extra percussion as well. There's not too much going on because I didn't want it to be too crazy, because there's a lot going on in the sample already, so kind of left that out. Normally I'd add some more percussion if it was an emptier sample, but you just don't want it to be too hectic. It's something that I used to do a lot actually, is put too much in. Bass, it was a sample, so not too much going on here. So let's go to this. Let's go to this loop. Just controlling some mids, no top, no super lows. Got the limiter, again, just to control it, to make sure it's just hitting. I wanted to make sure that it's below the kick drum. So that's why I've set it to minus 11.4. And I've also brought it down just to give it that big difference. I always used to put too much, like put the kick drum and the bass at the same level. And I wondered why my kicks were never cutting through. And it was just, I usually try and aim now at least 3 to 4 dB difference. Let's see what I've got here. And I like to group things together so that way I can see exactly next to where the kick is next to that. So yeah, we got 3 to 4 dB difference. Cool. Yeah, and that's a sample. I didn't play that one in. Sped things up a bit. I've got the bass slide that I use quite a lot. It's just before the drops. So yeah, that's the bass. And then we've got some additional chord stuff going on. There's nothing on that channel, so we can get rid of that. I think this is the stabs. Yeah, so we've got the RC20 to make it sound older, decapitator, multiband compression, some delay to have that long ringing out stab, and then some EQ, pretty straightforward stuff. Held tension string. And I've got that moving around, so it's not just set at the same volume. Otherwise, it just gets really draining and boring on the ear. And then this. Add some movement for the second half of the drop. If in context, it sounds like this. Super basic, but it adds something. Get the old RC20 shaper box. And this is doing a lot, actually. It's adding some panning movement. I love this preset. So it's creative. And I have it going over, I think, 8 bars. So that means it's very central at the beginning. And then towards the end, it's just hectic on both sides. Adds a nice little effect. And you can tailor that in a bit more, but I kind of like it to just move around a lot, just to add that movement. And the sample we've gone through already. And then some effects. Just got the splat. I think this is, what is this? Oh yeah, like I thought there was kind of a classic disco sound. We've got some reverb, some echo. I've got the noise that I use a lot, the rising noise. Nice clean white noise. Crashes. I love this crash. It's quite a realistic sounding one, and I've reversed it here. And my go-to white noise blast. But all of this is quite heavily sidechained for the drop. I have it turned off though during the breakdowns because I don't want it to be running the whole time. Because otherwise it sounds a bit aggressive if it's like sidechained and there's no kick drum going on. But together, it sounds like this. And I've got track spacer on the music bus because I want it to duck a little bit to leave space for the vocal. You can see between 300 and 2000 hertz. It's just letting that midway kind of cut through. Usual plugin process going on the output. I've got Ozone doing a lot of the legwork. Then I've got reference as per usual at the end with my usual reference tracks, which are It's Not Right, the Grant Nelson remix, the Moose T remix of Cola, two of my favourite tracks, and one of my all-time favourite producers, Neverdell. Big up to him if he's watching. I love his stuff, and I've used those as references for the frequencies and where they're hitting. Dangerous EQ there, just getting rid of 20 hertz. And bass room doing the normal control amount just to see where everything's sitting. And yeah, that's a quick blast through of how I made Prada. Very easy, very straightforward because I use so many samples. Yeah, I thought it was a really fun track to do. I think the thing that took the longest was actually to find a sample that I wanted to use as the backbone for the track because I wanted it to have a lot of energy. And when I heard this track, I was like, oh, you know what, this is actually perfect. I think it's only one semitone out. And yeah, I loved it. So people seem to be enjoying it, and I hope this was useful. Catch you in a bit. Bye.